Today we're going to attempt to install some ceiling fans here in the studio room. I want to install 2 Chathams, which this might end up as a temporary fail that needs revision. I've never installed flush mounts into these boxes before. I've had flush mounts installed in this room before, but only as a testing setup, never as a permanent configuration that requires adequate ground clearance. So this may or may not go well, I don't know. There is one item which I don't immediately know how to solve, and I'll get into that in a minute once I get the other camera on. This will be the behind the scenes take of this. I had to clean this up. This is some of the stuff that I would not include in the regular video. And hopefully this is working properly. I think this is the first take on this new GoPro camera. It's the same as the other one, so I expect that unless it's, as long as it's not defective, everything should be the same. Probably can put this electrical stuff back in the garage for now, because we're not going to get to that for a little while. And I want to fix that light tonight, but we're not going to need this, and we're not going to need this to do that. These are excellent. Make sure you don't lose that. We got a bunch of pieces of wire for the, why don't you throw that out, bucket. Which of course we're not going to throw out because they'll come in handy someday. Jeez, it feels cold in here considering how warm it was today. I gotta get a cancel out bin in here for this cleanup. I don't know where the cancel out bin is. Where is the it? I guess it's in the garage. It's nice to come outside and not just totally freeze. Very refreshing. It's colder in the garage than it is outside. Where are the cancel outs? I don't see him in there. The heck? I can't find the cancel out bins. Oh, here they are. Okay. am freezing. I'm gonna put the heat on. And I'll probably turn it right back off as soon as I start working. No idea what that is. A lot of these pieces are empty. I'm not canceling out good wire. It's only 49 degrees out. The heat pump started up pretty quick today. Used to try and use it when it's 0 degrees out. Alright, this should be charged up. I had this charging up since yesterday. Excellent. We'll be able to use that during our ceiling fan installation. These pieces like this, I do use these quite frequently for different things. So especially considering the current price of wire, I do think that these are worth keeping. Both wire and lumber is something that you never want to waste. They're both expensive. So even this, we're going to keep that because that's potentially useful. Part of me is inclined to keep that for doing the kitchen lights, but I don't think I'm going to need it because the spacing of the lights, well actually no, I might need it. It's probably not long enough. What is this mess? Is there anything worth keeping out of this mess here? know, quite frankly, this is probably more useful as individual pieces anyways. Even if you don't like to keep stuff, it's kind of worth cleaning up these scraps, because after so many jobs, you can turn it in for scrap. This is clean copper. Okay, so there's our pieces that we'll keep. Use that for something else, use that for something else. Oh, we can keep this too. Okay, that I'll put into the garage in a minute. That stays in here. That can go into garage. Cancel that out. It's very unfortunate that this screw is missing. I might have taken that in the garage and put it into the box of miscellaneous hardware. At least I sure hope I did. Alright, this is a pretty good area to work. I think this should be enough space. These are only 4-blade fans, so don't need that much room. Got some bits and pieces over here that are bigger than will fit in the vacuum, so I'll grab those now. And of course we'll clean up momentarily with an Oreck, because the Oreck is a great vacuum. Okay, that should be good. Vacuum that up too. Alright, let's do some vacuuming, and let's take this out to the garage later. We'll be using that. That way, make sure we got a good full set of tools to start with, because you never know what tools you might need as things go wrong along the way, which unfortunately tends to be what things do. Okay, this is not the vacuum I wanted. The vacuum I wanted happens to be in the garage, so I guess I'll take these things out to the garage now. Okay, got the vacuum that I wanted. We'll clean the floor and we'll clean the top of the bench so that there's nothing on there that might damage the finish of the fan while we're assembling the blades and so forth. Alright, I think that we're going to start over here. I guess it doesn't matter because they're both going to be installed. I'm trying to think of which one makes the most sense to install first, but it's kind of inconsequential really as to which one goes in first. If this moves along quick enough, I'll do both today, but you know, moving quick, haha, yeah, that's highly unlikely. But we'll see. So I guess we'll begin with this over here and then I'll move it as we go. And of course the unit that I want is all the way at the bottom. There's our two Chathams in antique brass. Those are the ones I thought I had 3 of for the kitchen, but did not. That was a figment of my imagination. Maybe someday I'll have 3, but that's not today, and it's probably not going to be tomorrow either. The AT&T 210, the allegedly #1 best-selling phone of all time. Talk about puffery. Alright, it's time to start recording the actual video now. And I put in a battery that has 12%. That was not the brightest thing I've done today. Let's see if we can get one that has a little bit more charge than that. Okay, this battery is coming fresh off the charger, fresh from the store. So this should be at 100. It's at 99. That doesn't seem right to me, but it's better than 12. What a way to start the video. Today we're going to be installing a Chatham ceiling fan sold under the Hampton Bay brand, which is the best brand for ceiling fans. And Fetters is the best brand for air conditioners, and Rotorex is the best brand for compressors. This is definitely been tampered with, so we got to do some checking here before we go any further to make sure that this is going to be okay. You can see here somebody cut too deep. If you notice, when I was opening this, I had this very small, because if you have it open too much, you'll cut through the blades, or sometimes in the center. This is pretty good packaging because the blades are actually off to the side, but you can see that previously somebody had cut in there too deep. Now the manual depicts the white version, This is not the white version, this is the antique brass version. This allegedly came with a 15-year warranty. I thought the Chatham was lifetime, but apparently not. It is an SMC product. There's a recycling hotline on there too, which we're not going to call. Alright, here's the mounting bracket. So, this is a problem, and we're not going to be able to do this today, I don't think, because I have to figure this out. So, the problem is that, oh dear, we have multiple problems here. Okay, the blades are not open, so this has at least never been fully installed. That bracket is nearly destroyed. This all looks copacetic. That's never been used. Okay, so for some reason the bracket has been mangled, but everything else looks untouched. See, this is exactly what I was talking about when you get this new old stock supposedly stuff, you never know. And here we have a problem. This has been, looks like drilled out for some reason. So we're going to have to put a washer over the screw now to keep that closed. That's problem number one. Problem number two, which is not an issue with the brackets, it's an issue with the design here. This is not going to work because there's no way to close the motor housing screws. I need the bracket to be like this. And so the question becomes, I need some kind of adapter to be able to turn that box 180 degrees. And that is where this becomes a challenge. This is definitely a predicament that I saw coming, but I don't have a solution to yet. I will have to create a solution to this. So we're going to call this, well, I'm just going to pause this video for now. We'll come back to this once I've figured this out. Okay, so exactly what I thought was going to be the problem is the problem. So we have to somehow modify this box, and at this particular moment I have no idea how we're going to do this, but what needs to happen is this box needs to be rotated such that these screws are like this, and just turning the box 180 degrees is not an option because the wiring's not going to flow nicely and it just wouldn't look right. So I'm going to have to put some kind of an adapter on there now to correct this. And the other thing I had thought about, and I don't know, from a clearance perspective, I feel like this has to go all the way up, and it will fit. This motor housing will definitely fit up in here. It's going to look kind of weird, but if this is like this, it gets too low. It's going to be a risk of hitting the lights when you walk by and then wrecking the fan. So it has to go up like this, and then I realize that this has to be cut out. I can fix that. That's not difficult. But what is difficult is how to fix this. See, we're battling two things now. It's the orientation issue, but then if I add, let's say I put a second box on here. If I add a second box to turn it, now I've lost an inch of clearance. And I think that an inch of clearance is a lot to lose. I actually contemplated not even using a box at all, or having some kind of side mount box where the wiring can go up off like next to the fan, and then the fan was screwed directly to the floor. It's a very, very low clearance situation here. Between the beam and my head, I'm not even sure it's a hand. Yeah, it's about, yeah, actually it's just about a hand. 11 inches or so. So it's not much. A lot of fans will not be able to be installed, but given that extra 4 inches or so up to the top, that makes a difference. I'm gonna go in the garage, and actually, you know what? I'm gonna pause this video because this is gonna be a bunch of just blank thinking. Let me take a look at this and see if I can figure out what we're gonna do. I think I have derived the potential solution. So I'm going to build, or well, I'm going to build something as well, but I'm going to record a second video now for this problem in particular, and then we'll get back to the original video and hopefully accomplish the original task. There exists a problem with these boxes, and that is that the orientation of the mounting bracket is not aligning in a way that allows the housing to be installed. So we need access to those screws, and it's going to end up like that, which is not going to work. So we need to rotate this box, or rather the connectors, the connection screws, 180 degrees, so it's like this. And I think what I'm going to do to correct this is I'm going to drill some holes through these boxes. These are used from a previous project, so the knockouts are gone or whatever. I'm going to drill 2 holes here so that I can screw this onto there, and then now I'll have the screws in the other orientation. This may or may not work. I tend to think that it will. It's a pretty simple solution, but you never know. So anyways, let's get this off the table, and then we'll see if we can get this set up here. I'm going to put a bag down on the table because the metal shards are very difficult to get out of the carpet. So I like to avoid getting the metal shards on the carpet, if at all possible. And that's one of the many reasons why I save these bags, even though most people are like, oh, you should just throw that out. I use these for this type of purpose all the time. Very practical. Get on there. Okay. So let's take the screws out of this so we can use the holes as a reference point. Hurry up, gosh. Okay, so if we put this on here like this, it's going to be very close. but if we go like that and like this, we'll make a hole here and make a hole here. And there might become a second problem, but let's see. Let's get there first. And then we'll see if that second problem becomes a problem, and we'll deal with it then. This is a very good drill bit. It should make a hole just about the right size, because we want to have it bigger than these threads, but smaller than the head. And I think it's just about there. You know, I have the right tool for this sitting on the floor. Duh. But this is the better tool to use for this. This will be much safer. Oh, that's a million times better. Duh. Ugh. The power of the right tool. There's a level of control with this piece of equipment that you just don't get with a freehand drill. Okay, so let's see now if this happens to line up or if it gets a 0. Well, that is a simple solution to a simple problem. And the second problem I thought might arise did not arise. It's very close to arising, and that is that the head of the screw would get pushed inwards as the screw threads in. Funny enough, the design of these things actually allows for some play because this is not secured in place. This is kind of loose. So that actually works. I think that'll be fine. like to deburr that a little bit more, but I guess it doesn't matter because the screw head will cover it. It's not going to be a risk to cut through anything. So we'll have to, ironically, this will actually protect a lot of this from moving around every time we change the fan. So this kind of works out pretty good. We'll punch out another one of these. And that's pretty okay, but I guess it does bear the potential to become the sharp, so I'll probably put this in there. No, we don't necessarily have to close it even. We can actually just take this right off. Okay, that screw is not going to be seen for a long time. You can just put this like this. And now that'll just screw on there like that. And we will have, oh, that's not going to work, is it? I might have to punch out a different hole. If this, hold up, that's not the box that I set up. This is the one I set up. Yeah, I should have punched out the one in the middle. It doesn't really matter, we'll just punch it out again. Oh, actually, you know what? Oh no. That might be a fatality because now I have nothing to drill the hole through. Oh, rats. Well, this is no longer good for this project. I gotta see if I have another one. I can't believe that just happened. I don't know why I didn't think of that. It's so obvious now, but it's too late. Hopefully I've got another one of these on hand. If not, I'm going to have to go to the store before I finish the other one. I have another one. I have something else that's similar. It has the same problem with having too many holes punched. Well, fortunate. I don't seem to have another one. Oh, that stinks, because now this is waste. Well, might be able to use it for something else someday. Could potentially use it downstairs on the other side, but I gotta go get another one of these. And these are like 15 bucks. They're not cheap. I can't believe I don't have another one. Oh, that really stinks. And the Home Depot closes in 8 minutes. I could probably get there in 8 minutes, but it's not even worth it. I'll just have to go tomorrow. Rats. No, I definitely don't have any more of these. Well, that's okay. Sometimes things screw up like this. I can have the concept. If we can prove that the concept works, then I know what we have to get, and it'll just be delayed a little bit. That's unfortunate. We're so close to having not only a solution, but a good use case for now the otherwise unhelpful piece. I don't have another piece on hand, but it is what it is. Sometimes it happens. At least we have the concept developed, and we know how this is going to work. So I'll put one of these up and make sure that this works, and then I'll have to go get another one tomorrow. I'd like to deburr that a little bit more. I'll deburr both sides a little bit more. Alright, and then I'll just put this here like this. Come on. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So now let's install this. Should I start over here or start? I guess I'm going to start over here. So what we'll have to do is funnel all these wires through here in the center. This one's live. Do these fit through here? No, they don't fit through there. Not with those goofy connectors on anyways. This should all be off, but I'm still not going to touch it with two hands. Okay. Oh, this already has screws here. Yeah, see what I was saying, how this is able to move like that? So it kind of works out in this case. Make sure we got a good angle on all these wires here. Alright, so the problem that we're running into is I did not push the box all the way up before starting, and so it misaligned. I need to make sure that this is all the way up first, and then we'll put these screws in. Okay, so that's a little goofy, but it kind of works out nice because this is nice and clean in here now. You know, all the extra mess. And it did invert the orientation, which is exactly what we needed. It's not fully closed here, but this is attended operation only, and the whole thing is switched. Would not do this in a regular situation, but for down here, this is fine. Okay, so that's our solution to this problem. I think it's a pretty good one. And it used materials we had on hand, and unfortunately we wasted one of the materials we had on hand, but oh well. I'll get another box and then we'll do the same thing for the next installation. Okay, let's stop and clean this up first. pellet on the floor now. Get all the shards off of there. I did get some dust on the table, but I can clean the dust off a lot easier than I can clean off those metal shards. That's fine, I'll take the dust any day over the metal shards. Ask me how I know about those metal shards. Okay, now we're ready to go back to the original video and get this fan installed. Okay, where should I put this camera number 2? It's much cleaner in here than it was before. We still got a ways to go. Does that show everything that we need to show? Working right there. Yeah, it shows that. Good enough, I think. Alright, we'll just leave that alone. Okay, I've derived a solution. We're ready to proceed. This particular Chatham is from 2000. And it's a SMC made motor, model number HUN52Q-LC, and it's rated 4.9 the amps. So it's a fair bit of current, but it's a small motor. I don't think it's more than a 153. It does have AccuArm, which is nice. Typical SMC style mounting plate. Balancing kit that nobody ever uses. Oh, I forgot about this. I have to get some washers. For whatever reason, these holes are enlarged, and that's going to be a safety concern. Does this have washers inside of it? It does. We'll just use these the washers then. Those will be large enough to solve the problem. Okay, so the housing is probably a... Oh, no, it doesn't have any of the key lock things, so we'll take all these screws out now. Make it easier later on. Wow, those are really in there tight. I have a feeling that that's not factory. I don't think that they would have been in there like that. Let's get these washers out of here. Make sure we keep the staple for some psychotic reason. Might need to reference that again in the future. Okay, we use these washers and make sure that this is... Yeah, that's fine. That is so odd. I don't know what would possess someone to do that. And then not even install it afterwards, too. So I don't know if this was like a store return or what the heck the deal was with this thing. You just never know sometimes. I gotta get a tool belt. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Excellent. This motor was definitely never installed. Well, this is going to be a little tricky to put this together here, but it's doable. The other way would not have been doable. I guess this ground wire goes in first. That's fine with that. Okay. Wonder if I should do the wiring before putting that plate on. Probably. And this is set up. Okay, there's the plugs in there, so if the light energizes, the light wires energize, it doesn't matter. Alright, the motor portion should be off, so don't expect that to start up. But the light portion is live, so the lights could come on at any time. Okay. So now, this is where it's going to be a little bit of a pain to have this 12 gauge wire. But I jam these connections back in here. And you got to do a pretty good job, otherwise we'll get wires scraping up against the motor during operation, which is not good. And I'm getting nervous about those stupid Wago connectors coming off while I'm doing this. I have no problem working with conventional twist-on wire connectors live, but this is making me a little nervous. I'm just going to cut it off. I don't trust those stupid things at all. Is that drop plate still in here? I'm gonna go get it. I can't see what we're doing here. I got the it. I really can't see in there well enough to tell if those stupid connectors have come off or not. Maybe I'll try to put them in here all at the same time so that one would not have the opportunity to push the other off. That I'm pretty confident in. Now we just got to get this excess wire in there so that it doesn't have a chance to hit the motor during operation. All right, I think we've got everything pretty good in there. This is probably going to be a noisy fan. I can hear the bearings, and it's not capacitor-based controls, so it might be kind of noisy on that front, but most likely it's just going to run on an aesthetic glow the whole time anyways, so good chance that neither will be a problem. You know what's throwing us off is that stupid grounding wire that's connected to that box. It doesn't let it go in all the way. Well, this will just have to be on crooked. Or not at all if we can't find the screw. Oh no. The washer came off. The likelihood of finding that is slim to none with the condition of the room the way it is. Great. Well, I won't vacuum until I look for this a little bit more. Well, I'll put some bright bulbs in this fan and give me some more light over here, and then I'll try to look again. Actually, I guess I can try looking with this, even though it's stupid cool white, which I don't like. And that could have bounced under any of this stuff. Ah, here it is. Let's try that again. This is going to be the most difficult part of this installation. The angle is just very limited. Very little space to work with. That's backwards. All right, we're going to go with that. So, I can't test the lights because they're not connected, but I can test the fan, make sure our wiring is correct. I have full confidence in it, but a check never hurts. Actually, it seems relatively quiet in regards to the humming. Alright, everything should be easy from here on out. In fact, getting these screws in should be easier than normal because it's not up against the ceiling. This is in very good condition. You just never know when it comes to new old stock stuff. Sometimes you take it out of the box and it's just horrible, but this one's good. Yeah, there would have been no shot putting these screws in with it oriented the other way. It would have just been physically impossible. But this is fine. Should put a couple hooks in the ceiling here for the drop light. Make this a little bit easier. Although actually that's a pretty good angle right there for it. Make sure that's centered over the motor. There's no scraping issues. Okay, that's pretty good. And that should be all that we need this for. Okay, now we're going to get into the assembling of the blades. Looks like these are the blade screws. We'll save the staple for some psychotic reason. It's amazing this rubber band is still good after 2.5 decades. Oh, that's so nice. It's in excellent condition. Here we go at SMC, putting the blades in 2 separate packages again. Okay, we will go with the medium oak. I think that the other side is walnut, which is also very nice, but the medium oak is much more nostalgic to me. Concealed hardware. As I said many times, these are pretty nice fans for what they cost. These are not expensive. And having the screws in there and the AccuWarm thing, ease of installation is off the charts with these. These are almost as good as the Quick Connect. That's not the right bit. Had that bag with those bits for probably 10 plus years now. The bag is just now starting to break. And I guess we're not out of the water yet until I put this up here and make sure that it clears. I think it'll clear. How easy was that? That AccuWarm thing. AccuWarm is a fantastic invention. Whew, that's close. It's closer on this side than it is on the other side by several inches. Now I'll just have to try to push this stuff in a little bit further like that. I knew it was going to be close. That's good. It's got a good inch of clearance. That's a nice fan. These will definitely be going in the kitchen after they spend some time down here. I hope I can find a third so we can do a triple install these in the kitchen someday. Some people make fun of the AccuWarm thing, and I don't know why, because it makes a world of difference. I guess just because it exists on a fan that's, you know, was sold at a big box store under the hardware or under the store name. But really that does not make it a bad product. I can tell you this is easier to put together than a stinking Casablanca any day. Whatever. Okay, it is clearing everything. It's close on that one side, but I guess it's close on this side too. Actually, you know what? It's closer in distance than I thought. It's actually pretty close, either side. The difference is that those fans are just coming out further from the shelf, whereas these are in line. This whole thing is crooked. I don't know why it's like that. Should be more like that. So this is old enough to have come with the switch cap still. It's not old enough to have come with light bulbs though. I'll have to find some. This is live, so we'll connect the common first. Okay, where is the software for the lights? It was not in that original bag. It's already there. Would have preferred it be in the bag, because now we have to unscrew all this. Oh, I just noticed we also have to unscrew each and every one of these shade screws as well. That's tight. All right, we're just about done. All that's left is these pesky light shade screws. And it might be easier to put these on before we attach the shades. Wow, this is very tight in there. Also very noisy. B for Baja. These are so nostalgic. I'm very happy with how high off the ground this is. The chains are barely even going to be a clearance issue. Yeah, it's just barely going to hit. So literally the inch would have made a difference in this case, but the difference also would have made it not work. So this is better. All right, I want to put those 11-watt S14 bulbs in there. And I know I have 4 of them in the fan in the bedroom. So for the sake of time, I might just go grab 1 or 2. I have 1 here. I don't know if we'll be able to go up to 25 watts without it, still being comfortable to look at. I have a 25 watts here. We can try this. That's not bad. I think we could probably do 25 watts. So, I'm trying to think if I have any floating around. I know I have some in stock, I'm just not sure where. Not sure where they are. Maybe there's some in here. Here's one. Can't make this stuff up. Someday, and we're finally getting close to this day, this is all going to be cleaned up. Okay. Alright, I knew I had saw a package in here, but those are Candelabra base. I need E26 base. Those are 60, that's way too bright. You know what I could probably do, and I think I have some more in the garage, is I could put 40 watts soft white. In fact, I would rather have that because I'm pretty sure that's how it was pictured in the 2001 catalog. Equivalent halogen bulbs. Here we go. Got some halogen bulbs. Let's see here. So either of these bulbs are an option, but let's try the halogens. These are 29 watts. These are some of the last ones I ever bought. I bought these at the grocery store when they went on very steep discount at the beginning of last year, I think it was. Clean white light, full spectrum. It's just a basic light bulb. These are a little bit big for there. I don't like that at all. Nope, I do not like that. It's too almost like bluish. Doesn't have the nice soft glow. That's not going to work for there. So 25 watts, 25 watts. I'm sure I have another one of these somewhere. I know I got, oh actually I could still buy these. They're still available at the grocery store. I don't know if I like that or not. I think I like the S14 better. Let's go grab two of those S14s out of the fan in the bedroom. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Very consistently, these are my favorite choice for ceiling fans when there's no dimmer. Okay. Yeah, it's surprisingly quiet. All right, one of two is complete. Looks very nice in the space. Looks nice with these lights, these hanging lights. It is definitely crooked. I don't know why that is. I'll have to keep that in mind next time I swap these out to check the levelness of the box. I don't know why that would be the case. Oh man. See, I can't get these tight enough because they don't have, what do you call it on there? I'll deal with that later. So there's one of two. We'll get the other one installed once we get the parts to build the contraption, the box rotation contraption. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm happy with the way that came out. It's got good clearance, so you can walk underneath it just fine. It doesn't move any air, but I figured that would be a byproduct of this installation. It does look a little goofy because you can't see the whole motor housing, but it's this or not have it, so I think this is the better of the two options. Because there is not, there's a very small amount of clearance. It would just barely clear if I mounted it on the bottom of the beams. I've done that before with testing, and I don't like it. It actually does move some air. Very impressive how quiet it is. A lot of turbulence because the blades are too close to the beams. Yeah, I don't know if you can see on the camera because it's too far away, but this is shaking. This is shaking violently from the turbulence. I mean, there's really no reason to use it on these speeds because it doesn't move much air anyways. The fans down here are purely for aesthetics. Despite being so quiet, there is a lot of vibration. Let me check the wiring here. Very cool. All right. I am very happy with that. It's going to look even better when we have a pair of them. It's so nostalgic to the 90s and 2000s. Excellent. All right, let's put this away here. And then we're going to call it for the night. I'll have to make some errands tomorrow and pick up what we need to finish this. to get a zip closing bag for the hardware so that none of it is likely to get lost. There was extra blade screws in there. Okay, that's installed. I'll pick up some more S14 light bulbs tomorrow. I gotta make a list of some things I need to throw the Home Depot too now. I'm just going to bring this box with me so I can get the same thing. That's fantastic. What a great install.